Welcome, the Dweller of the Dark. We are a channel honoring the yellowed and blackened bones of many prominent authors. We will be digging up several obscure, strange, and forgotten authors who influenced many of the great horror, science fiction, and fantasy writers today. Comment below if you like. If you have authors that you'd like to see recognized, list them in the comments or contact our author page. Subscribe for more tales of the horrifying, obscure, strange, and forgotten. We'll have quite a collection climbing out of the tombs. If you like any of our tales, comment, ring the bell, and crush the like button below. Unknown Horror Masters. The Skull and Bones collection has risen from the grave. More beasts to be released soon. Find us on Fiverr to raise 7 kinds of hell. Check out our other stories and our websites. YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, Dweller of the Dark. Official website, dwellerofthedark.com. Kindle Vella, new serialized novels and novelette. Weekly new episodes. Check out links below for Where the Wolf Dwells. The Curious Death of Dionysus Shall Not. Our books and ebooks are on Kindle Amazon. Follow, support us on Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, Bandcamp. Dweller of the Dark. Children of Horror. Legion of Ghouls. Tonight, we continue our celebration of Halloween. Each night, we will be presenting tales of the best Halloween horrors ever conjured to terrify, haunt, and delight. And remember, devilishly devoted to horror and Halloween, may your souls always be. The Listeners by WordPress. First published in 1912 for the Listeners collection. "Is there anybody there?" said the traveler, knocking on the moonlit door, and his horse in the silence chomped the grasses of the forest ferny floor. And a bird flew up out of the turret above the traveler's head, and he smote upon the door again, a second time. "Is there anybody there?" he said. But no one descended to the traveler. No head from the leaf-fringed sill leaned over and looked into his gray eyes, where he stood perplexed and still. But only a host of phantom listeners that dwelt in the lone house then stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight to that voice from the world of men, stood thronging the faint moonbeams on the dark stair that goes down to the empty hall, hearkening in an air stirred and shaken by the lonely traveler's call. And he felt in his heart their strangeness, their stillness answering his cry, while his horse moved, cropping the dark turf neath the starred and leafy sky. For he suddenly smote on the door even louder and lifted his head. "Tell them I came, and no one answered, that I kept my word," he said. Never the least stir made the listeners, though every word he spake fell echoing through the shadowiness of the still house. From the one man left awake, aye, they heard his foot upon the stirrup, and the sound of iron on stone, and how the silence surged softly backward when the plunging hoofs were gone. Ghost House by Robert Frost. Published March 15th, 1906 for The Youth's Companion. I dwell in a lonely house I know that vanished many a summer ago and left no trace but the cellar walls and a cellar in which the daylight falls and the purple-stemmed wild raspberries grow. O'er ruined fences the grapevines shield. The woods come back to the mowing field. The orchard tree has grown one copse of new wood and old, where the woodpecker chops. The footpath down to the well is healed. I dwell with a strangely aching heart in that vanished abode there far apart, on that disused and forgotten road that has no dust bath now for the toad. Night comes, the black bats tumble and dart. The whippoorwill is coming to shout and hush and cluck and flutter about. I hear him begin far enough away, full many a time to say his say, before he arrives to say it out. It is under the small, dim summer star. I know not who these mute folk are, who share the unlit place with me, those stones out under the low-limbed tree doubtless bear names that the mosses mar. They are tireless folk, but slow and sad. Those two, close keeping, are lass and lad, with none among them that ever sings, and yet, in view of how many things, as sweet companions as might be had. Dead Man's Hate by Robert Irvin Howard. First published in January 1930 for Weird Tales. They hanged John Farrell in the dawn amid the marketplace. At dusk came Adam Brand to him and spat upon his face. "Ho, neighbors all," spake Adam Brand, "see ye John Farrell's fate. 'Tis proven here a hypnosis is stronger than man's hate. For heard ye not John Farrell's vow to be avenged upon me? Come life or death, see how he hangs high on the gallows tree." Yet never a word the people spoke in fear and wild surprise, for the grisly corpse raised up its head and stared with sightless eyes, and with strange motions, slow and stiff, pointed at Adam Brand, and clambered down the gibbet tree, the noose within its hand. With gaping mouth stood Adam Brand, like a statue carved of stone, till the dead man laid a clammy hand hard on his shoulder bone. Then Adam shrieked like a soul in hell. The red blood left his face, and he reeled away in a drunken run through the screaming marketplace. And close behind, the dead man came with a face like a mummy's mask, and the dead joints cracked and the stiff legs creaked with their unwanted task. Men fled before the flying twain, or shrank with bated breath, and they saw on the face of Adam Brand the seal set there by death. He reeled on, buckling legs that failed, yet on and on he fled. So through the shuddering marketplace, the dying fled the dead. At the riverside fell Adam Brand with a scream that rent the skies. Across him fell John Farrell's corpse, nor even the twain did rise. There was no wound on Adam Brand, but his brow was cold and damp, for the fear of death had blown out his life as a witch blows out a lamp. His lips were writhed in a horrid grin, like a fiend's on Satan's coals. And the men that looked on his face that day, his stare still haunts their souls. Such was the fate of Adam Brand, a strange, unearthly fate. For stronger than death, or hempen noose, or the fires of a dead man's hate. La Belle Dame Sans Merci by John Keats. First published in 1820 for The Indicator. Ah, what can ail thee, wretched wight, alone and palely loitering? The sedge is withered from the lake, and no birds sing. Ah, what can ail thee, wretched wight, so haggard and so woe-begone? The squirrel's granary is full, and the harvest done. I see a lily on thy brow, with anguish moist and fever dew, and on thy cheek a fading rose, fast withereth too. I met a lady in the meads, full, beautiful, a fairy's child. Her hair was long, her foot was light, and her eyes were wild. I set her on my pacing steed, and nothing else saw all day long, for sideways would she lean and sing a fairy song. I made a garland for her head, and bracelets too, and fragrant zone. She looked at me as she did love, and made sweet moan. She found me roots of relish sweet, and honey wild, and manna dew. And sure in language strange she said, I love thee true. She took me to her elfin grot, and there she gazed and sighed deep, and there I shut her wild, sad eyes, so kissed to sleep. And there we slumbered on the moss, and there I dreamed, ah, woe betide, the latest dream I ever dreamed, on the cold hillside. I saw pale kings and princes too, pale warriors, death pale were they all, who cried, La Belle Dame Sans Merci hath thee enthralled. I saw their starved lips in the gloam, with horrid warning gaped wide, and I awoke and found me here on the cold hillside. And this is why I sojourn here, alone and palely loitering, though the sedge is withered from the lake, and no birds sing. A Chilly Night by Christina Rosetti, first published in 1904 for Poems of Christina Rosetti. I rose at the dead of night and went to the lattice alone to look for my mother's ghost where the ghostly moonlight shone. My friends had failed one by one, middle-aged, young, and old, till the ghosts were warmer to me than my friends that had grown cold. I looked and I saw the ghost dotting plain and mound. They stood in the blank moonlight, but no shadow lay on the ground. They spoke without a voice, and they leaped without a sound. I called, "Oh, my mother dear!" I sobbed, "Oh, my mother kind, make a lonely bed for me and shelter it from the wind. Tell the others not to come to see me night or day, but I need not tell my friends to be sure to keep away." My mother raised her eyes. They were blank and could not see, yet they held me with their stare while they seemed to look at me. She opened her mouth and spoke. I could not hear a word, while my flesh crept on my bones and every hair was stirred. She knew that I could not hear the message that she told, whether I had long to wait or soon should sleep in the mold. I saw her toss her shadowless hair and wring her hands in the cold. I strained to catch her words, and she strained to make me hear, but never a sound of words fell on my straining ear. From midnight to the cockcrow, I kept my watch in pain, while the subtle ghost grew subtler in the sad night on the wane. From midnight to the cockcrow, I watched till all were gone, some to sleep in the shifting sea, and some under turf and stone. Living had failed, and dead had failed, and I was indeed alone. Thank you for listening. Have a great night.